can't all
Steve
just
is
show
gonna
up.
be gone during the tribal thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Am I supposed to be wearing a mask today or is that next time
It would not be until next.
after the 10th? Okay, okay, I brought one.
What's the temp down there, JJ?
It's 79, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, a little different than home.
Make sure you don't let us see that beer that's in front of you off camera.
No, none of that. I got too much work to do yet today.
It's probably noon there. What the hell? What time zone?
What time is it there?
Yeah, noon here. Yep,
Either way,
noon.
sound.
Yep, it's 82. 82 degrees.
82.
oh, that's too warm.
I like the ocean waves in the back.
I'd be fishing already.
Oh, it's breezy right here.
It's almost 130.
Oh, I feel
degrees
bad
warmer than
for
it was
you.
at my house on Saturday.
Was what?
It's almost 130 degrees warmer than it was at my home.
Oh, I know.
120 or 10.
I know.
I had 27 below, 28, 27.9.
Oh,
What do you live in the
I
tundra?
don't have no
I
clue.
went to church and it's like on the way home from church, we're up 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Becky's car has heated.
Totally
steering
awesome.
wheel,
Thank you.
and it is, it'd be just one of those.
I already gave my thing to
but
her
it
over
is
there.
so nice.
Yeah, on those. Did you bring her back to David?
Here, Kelly.
He never, no?
Because of David and Bill, I thought,
Yeah, but you haven't,
really did respond. Bill responded and was like, I heard Bradley and Charles, are you all good? And I said, oh, I'm not good.
yeah,
And then I gave my full spiel again at the meeting.
I'd email him back and say, you asked me if I was good, I told her not and why. We need to talk. Yeah,
So the Minute Mart in Hinckley, did the
Yeah.
casino buy that?
What was the new owner name?
Lucky 7 General Store?
sounds like it.
Doesn't say on here.
Yeah,
Lucky 7 sounds about right.
So is there anything they don't own in that town?
the Dollar General.
Oh, really?
Liquor store,
Yeah, I suppose.
Toby's
And Holiday.
and Holiday bought Burger King.
Oh, they did.
Well, they did.
Yeah, so they had planned that for a long time so they could expand. So,
It's a terrible.
It's
That's a-
Yeah, it is. Yep.
so, yeah.
You know,
Although I do hear that the Hinckley
Got that
people
little
want to have
corner
another
on the other side of
restaurant.
the freeway too for Mini Mart because they wanted to make sure that Quick Trip didn't come in.
Oh, really?
And then they
So
bought.
I went to Don
I know where
Julio's
Quick
for
Trip
the
is, it's
first
just got right
time
on Highway
on New
450.
Year's
They bought
Eve.
that too to make sure Quick Trip did.
The food was.
Hi, Mary Kay.
unbelievably good.
Hello there. Morning.
Hi, Mary Kay.
Good morning.
Well, I have got 10 o'clock, and so I would like to welcome everyone to the organizational and regular meeting of the Pine County Board for 2022 and ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America. To the republic. And
indivisible, with liberty and justice
For all.
under God. Give some justice to all.
The first order of business is to elect a chair. And so I would open the floor to nominations for chair.
I will nominate Steve Hallen.
There's a nomination for Steve Holland. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a nomination and a second for Steve Holland. Are there any other nominations for chair? Are there any other nominations for chair? And a third and final time, any other nominations for chair? Hearing none, being that we have a remote member, we'll do a roll call vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Debbie, would you, no? Would you call the roll?
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Hi.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Chair.
Well, I think it's, thank you. But thanks for trusting me. I think it's, I know it's an honor, so thank you. We will elect a vice chair at this time. Nominations are open for vice chair.
I'll nominate Josh Moore.
You want to do it again?
Yeah, I can.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none. We will vote for unanimous vice chair. Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Public forum, is there anybody online that, oh, I don't see anybody in the audience that I believe wants to talk on public forum, but is there anybody that's dialed in that wishes to? Anybody, Ryan?
Mary Kay, but she's not indicating that she.
Okay, all right. If not, we'll move on to the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
There are none, Mr. Chair.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Lubgren, seconded by Moore to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the committee assignments and other appointments. We've had this list in front of us, and I did hear from, I actually heard Josh and Terry talking about doing a little switcheroo. And Terry, are you willing to take the Snake River watershed forward? Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just to be clear, that would be technically the watershed joint powers board and the one watershed one plan.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I can fill it, I'll be the alternate.
Okay.
Thank you, Terry.
You'll be the alternate.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else that wants to do any switcheroo?
Mr. Chair, I have been appointed to the GPS 4593 Joint Powers Board, and I would suggest Leslie could hold that appointment as a better choice. And then I could be the alternate if the board wanted that.
I think that's excellent. She's already active in that board, so she'd be a good fit.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. We're willing, Leslie? All right.
What about Highway 23?
Oh,
Yeah, just that.
what did he say?
What did you say,
He would be
JJ?
interested in that.
You,
Yeah, the new Highway 23 coalition. Yeah, I would be interested in that if we're looking for anyone.
I would too.
Terry and JJ?
Yeah.
What does he say?
He said the Highway 23 Coalition.
Yeah.
So he said he'd be interested and I would too.
So Terry, would you be the alternate?
I don't know.
I would be.
We can put two on there. We don't know any better. We're brand new to it. They can eliminate one of you and anyway.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yes, it's JJ and I, then I think, is it JJ and I?
Anybody else? Anything else?
The, I can't think what the name of it is right now, the one that you were part of, Steve, that you didn't want, that you didn't think that we should be part of, that's not on here no longer.
No.
Oh, okay, okay,
Go over rural counties.
yes, thank you.
Yeah, just to clarify, so the Minnesota Rural Counties Association is no longer on the list. And then the Economic Development Committee is no longer on the list, assuming that those activities, depending on the outcome of the public hearing, may be rolled into the HRA EDA.
Right. So if it doesn't happen that does get rolled, that the HRA is accepted after the public hearing, which I don't see happening, but if something happens with that, do we put that back on here then? Can we go back and
We
redo that?
can always go back.
Okay, okay.
And Mr. Chair, I had a question if I can.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, with losing the economic development development committee. I mean, I guess I looked at that as more of like a brainstorming type of committee, more so straightly directly, looking at businesses and anything else possibly coming. I think that some of that, some of that brain.
I hear what you're saying, JJ. I
Some of that, or what are you?
Yeah, I think I understood. I think
Yep.
if I understood JJ, you're thinking that committee has provided some brainstorming and has an opportunity to continue that. And I think, certainly that's a role that the county commissioners should continue to be involved in. And I'm wondering if it would make sense to appoint 2 liaisons to the HRA EDA, if that is what comes out of the process. And then you'd have 2 commissioners who were really involved in the economic development piece and could continue on with that brainstorming.
And I believe if we do that, those 2 commissioners can sit down with Leslie anytime and have their session.
Is that track with what you were thinking, JJ?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, I just don't want to lose any of what I thought we gained.
Thanks for thinking about that. I think that has some validity.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
on last year, Commissioner Ludwig was the liaison to the HRA. And so I don't know if it's appropriate now to think about who the liaisons might be, or if you want to wait until after the public hearing and have some direction.
Let's wait till after the public hearing and see where we go.
Wait.
Is that okay? Maybe we all want to be liaisons.
It's a really interesting
I would like
group.
to stay on.
Yeah, you do a good job on it.
Are we okay how we've amended the list then?
Yeah.
I believe we should have a formal.
I didn't change a thing today.
Somebody wants to move that?
I'll make a motion that we accept the committee appointments.
Thank you.
I'll second.
We got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Ludwig to go with the amended list that we just amended here at the meeting of appointments for 2022. Any more discussion? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
2022 County Board schedule.
It's good to me.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Motion by Ludwig, second by Lovegren to go with the posted schedule. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we get to the minutes of the December 21st County Board meeting and summary for publications.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I could just note, we did the resolution 2021-77, which set the levy at the last board meeting, had a clerical error in the amount of the jail bond of $35. The total levy amount was correct. I just want to acknowledge that we've updated the resolution to accurately reflect the $30 error to correct that and just make sure everybody was aware.
Okay. No other discussion. Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then we're looking for approval of the boards and committees correspondence, the land surveyors report, the zoning board meeting report of November 18th, and the Pine County HRA minutes of December 22nd.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Motion by Moore, second by Lovegren. Any discussion? If not, Debbie?
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, moves us to the consent items.
Ludwig will move.
I'll second.
Motion by Ludwig, seconded by Moore. I would just like to point out something on the consent items, and that's under donations. You know, there's an anonymous donation for veterans outreach of $5,000. That's a significant deal. A 23,000 donation for the fourth quarter from Grand Casino Hinkley for general operations, and another 23,000 from the Grand Casino Hinkley for general operations for the first quarter of 2022. And then a $250 donation from Quebec Law for the K-9 program, and a $500 donation from Quebec Law for the Ben Neal gun range. I think those are significant donations, and certainly we thank the organizations and the people that did that. Any other?
I got one
Yes.
thing. On the question I had was on the contracts, the school resource officer. I was just curious to why that is 3807. Is that what we normally charge the schools, where the regular sheriff's contract is 5950 to 61?
You know, I don't actually know.
Okay. Why school resource officer? is 3807 per hour.
It sounds low, doesn't it?
And then our regular contracts are 59.
If I may, Josh, I think I have the answer to that. So the regular contracts, that is a mix of all of the employee staff that could be covering.
Okay.
Where at the school, it's a specific staff member.
Okay. All right.
And it looks like there is a Jay Nelson on the call. Is that the sheriff? If he wants to weigh in, if that's him.
Must not be.
Okay.
Oh, there he
Anyway.
is. There he is.
Hey, am I on now?
Yes.
I was trying to unmute, sorry. It wasn't agreeing with me. So, yeah, there's a couple different factors in there too. So when I took over as sheriff, they were set at a different rate, and I've been adjusting both of those rates at an appropriate level. And the school resource officer wasn't factored in at the same level that the contracted hours were for the city. The squad car wasn't included in that, and those kind of things, because to get to that level would have been a very huge increase at the SRO level, and I don't think the schools would have accepted that. So I've been trying to get it to where it's closer. But at the same time, the SROs do come out of the school fairly often and help out on the road. And that's just kind of a way of equaling that out, where the county is benefiting, directly from those positions. We're able to partially fund with the SRO contracts to help benefit and supplement what, the air quote, the county cars are doing. So that's kind of where the logic is in between it. It's been a conversation with both the school and the different contracted cities on why those differences are in place too. So does that help?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I was just kind of curious as to why. I figured there was a good explanation. So thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Any other questions? If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lofgren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to the regular agenda, and the first item is a public hearing to consider the creation of Economic Development Authority and or assigning the Economic Development Authority powers to the existing Housing and Redevelopment Authority to commence now. And we're first going to have a presentation of the enabling resolution 2022-02, assigning the Economic Development Authority EDA powers to the existing county housing redevelopment HRA.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Members of the board, Dave Minke, County Administrator, I can make this presentation. And so we have been working, I think some would say for 9+ years to this moment, but in a very focused way this fall, we started to make progress by establishing in October Development Authority Study Committee. That study committee met and evaluated and identified the current level of economic development, housing, and community development programs and services provided by existing agencies. And then it also identified gaps in programs and services. And some of the gaps that they identified were a lack of communication among existing development agencies, inconsistent service and lack of resources, a lack of statutory authority to access the county's revolving loan fund. There was no comprehensive marketing or branding effort for the region, and then general lack of consistency and accessibility of information on zoning, development assistance, and various studies and reports. And so the study committee under the statute can make one of 4 recommendations. It can recommend forming an economic development authority. It can recommend assigning the EDA powers to the existing Housing and Redevelopment Authority. It can recommend pursuing special legislation, or it can recommend no change. The study committee recommended assigning the EDA powers to the existing Housing and Redevelopment Authority. And then the proposed enabling resolution 2022-02 follows that recommendation. And then in addition, the county board has the authority in the enabling resolution to reserve certain authorities to itself. And so there are three reservations that are included as options for the county board. One of them is it requires the county board approval for bonding or for property tax levy. In the statute, the county board approval is required for an EDA levy already, whether it's in the resolution or not, but it just seemed from a perspective of clarifying the intent that it was a helpful piece of information to include in the resolution. The resolution also requires that the authority must act consistent with the county comprehensive plan, and it requires the authority to align its actions with county goals, which seem understood, but maybe they're better spoken. And so those are the only reservations that are included in the resolution. The county board has the discretion to include more or fewer or other ones. And then also of note, the proposed enabling resolution can be amended in the future. If you decide that it's not working the way you want it, you can always come back and through a public hearing process, change the enabling resolution. And then the enabling resolution does not impact the currently existing authority that's in the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, if that makes sense. There's two sets of statutes at play. The EDA is the one that's in the enabling resolution that's before you today. And so with that, I will entertain any questions.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do have a question. What is the general range of levy if they establish a levy? Is there a limit?
There is a statutory limit that's a percentage. And I don't know, Kelly, if you have that number, or Leslie, if you have that number handy. But I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's okay.
But Kelly?
Oh, but.
Yeah,
Really low. It's like 0.05.
Yes, and Mary Kay Sloan is on the call, and she's the chair of the county HRA. She's also a city council member and been involved with the city's Pine City HRA and EDA. She may know because I think Pine City does a levy. And so maybe during the public comments, she might reference that.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, I guess I have one for Dave, just to jog my memory if I can. On the, you said there's two properties with the HRA already. One you said is a Finlayson Manor, and then a manor. So then if there's any improvements or anything that has to be done on those properties, if they do have to levy taxes, that comes out of everybody in the entire county, or is it just then for the cities that benefit those properties, or that have, if benefits wrong, where the property is located, the two? Does everybody pay for it, or is it just in that?
So you were a little bit broken, so I'm going to restate the question just to make sure I understood it. So the question is, the current HRA has two housing properties, Finlayson Manor and Sandstone Manor. There's a total of 28 units. And if those units need maintenance or repair, if there were a levy, would it be levied across everybody? And so the short answer is those properties are intended to cash flow themselves through rates. And since they were built in the 70s, they have done that. And so I don't think that there would be a need for a levy to maintain those properties. And the HRA, I think over time has been able to build up a significant cash reserve, which would, even if there were a significant repair or two that were needed, would not necessitate a levy. So if that's the specific question, generally, if the HRA were to establish a levy, I believe it would be countywide, because the HRA is operates, the county HRA operates countywide. The county EDA only operates in jurisdictions that pass a resolution allowing the EDA to operate. And so if there were in the future an EDA levy, that might be limited to just the jurisdictions that opted in. Is that helpful, JJ?
Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it does. I'll just add to that, Dave, you're spot on. The HRA has plenty of they budget for everything from the rent.
And I'm gonna ask a question. I'm assuming then if a new housing project was developed in Hinckley, that, and that there would be a gathering of funds, that Leslie would find the funds someplace that would build the place, and they would build into the rate structure of the rentals to take care of the same things that the housing units in Finlayson and Sandstone have done. So,
Yeah.
But it is a county-wide, we're trying to help the whole county. So there might be times when they need some startup money where my taxes in Pine City Township conceivably could go for a project in Willow River. I don't know that would happen, but.
But the goal is not to raise taxes. The goal is
Right.
for them to be able to take care of themselves.
Right.
But yep, you've got that fund out there, and it is a countywide fund in case you
Yeah.
do have that need. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes, and just a general, precept of economic development is property taxes are funds of last resort, right? They're not, there are few communities who are successful at levying money for economic development because it's got such a long payback, right? There's a lot of tools that the HRA and the EDA can access without levy. And one of them is a program that just a month or two ago, the HRA authorized application to the Housing Choice Program. I'm looking at Leslie because I'm not sure the name is out, the Housing Choice Program. And so this is down payment assistance for residents that the county is ineligible to apply for, but the HRA is an eligible applicant. And so by working with the HRA, we're able to leverage those funds and bring that support to Pine County.
Good discussion.
Yeah. So, any other questions from the board? If we'll have another chance, but at this time, we're going to open up the public hearing so we can hear from the public, which there's throngs of people here. But I know Mary Kay is on the call. I'm not sure if anybody else is, but Mary Kay, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
I don't have any words of wisdom, but I can tell you that we have a very good HRA board. And we had a really good discussion at the meeting about combining with the EDA. They were all in favor of it. And I think it's a good group that's willing to put some hard work into this.
Thank you.
Oh, and I don't know the exact levy for Pine City is using. I think it's under 1% though, like Matt suggested.
Anybody else have anybody else on the call? That's it. Nobody else wishes to speak. We will close the public part of the hearing and come back to the board for discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So County Attorney Reese Frederickson just shared the levy amount and it's limited to 0.0185 of the estimated market value. So Kelly could do the arithmetic at some point. But it is a pretty modest amount.
Yeah, so the idea that the HRA board would go wild in a levy pretty much is non-existent because of the safeguards we have in the resolution as it's printed, plus in statute of the amount they can levy.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. Chair. I think when that comes back, we'll always come back in front of us again.
Right. And I think that over time, that's been a concern, and I don't know why that wasn't ever addressed as this seems to be a no-brainer, an easy fix to a problem that people seem to think of was a problem. So I think yeah, I'm comfortable with it that way.
I think it has a lot to do with, like, we have discussions that some of our committee of the wholes, we have a levy, school districts have a levy, and we never really know how everybody else's budgets are gonna fall, but the public is impacted by all of it.
Right.
So it does become
Yeah.
one more burden.
Yep.
Even however small it is, it just keeps adding up.
Yep.
So it's good that it comes in front of us again.
Right.
And hopefully we have an idea how things are going for everybody, but.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if the resolution 2022-2 seems generally in line with the board's thinking, there's one little addition that I would recommend. And that is, we have not identified what the entity would be called. And so in what is that paragraph number 2, if we added the Development Authority shall be known as the Pine County Housing and Redevelopment Authority / Economic Development Authority, then that would give it a name that would be clear what powers it contains.
Do we need to talk now about if we want to have 2 county board members on that? So we can keep the economic development portion going at the same time?
You certainly could assign 2 commissioners to be liaisons.
Yeah. So I'd like to see JJ continue with that because I think he's got a real heart for it. It's
And
good.
Matt's been there from
And
day
that's,
one.
yeah.
Yep, I'm fine.
Does anybody have any other questions? Now's your time to ask them. I've been plugging away at this for 10 years, so I kind of got it clear in my mind, but I want to make sure everybody else does. We're not really doing a lot when you look at the resolution, but we are doing a heck of a lot. I think it's just a giant leap forward for Pine County.
I think it opens a lot more doors.
Yes.
You know, we've got way more places we can go with this.
Yep. We give this young lady a lot more tools to use. She's pretty good at using them. So we're looking for a motion for resolution 2022-02.
I will make a motion to accept the resolution 2022-02 for enabling the resolution for the assignment or assigning of powers of economic development and the authority to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority.
I'll second.
We got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Moore to adopt resolution 2022-02. One last time for clarification, questions. If not, Debbie, you want to call the roll?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Does the assignment of the commissioners have to be included in the motion too, or not, just because it's
I
a
think
board
that can be a
appointment?
second motion after the resolution is adopted, if that
Okay,
makes sense.
okay. District 3, Commissioner Lopern. District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then as a follow-up to that, I would assign, I would like to have Ludwig and Waltham assigned as liaisons to that group. Do we need a motion on that?
Treated those as committee chair appointments, so your word should be good.
Okay,
You're the boss.
well, I don't wanna.
Yep.
Okay, we move on to Help America Vote Act. They even got an acronym for that.
Right, HAVA. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. About a month ago, we had discussed the voting equipment needs for Pine County. And as we discussed that in that grant application, I had noted that there would be a future grant application coming as well to help with that purchase. And so that grant is now open, the Help America Vote Act. The way that the state came up with a formula based on number of voters, and then just a base amount to figure out the total amount. And so right now Pine County is slated to get just over $25,000. There is a lot of requirements that go along with applying for this, and Ryan is so graciously helping me work through them. And so it's gonna, if counties don't apply, then their funds get reallocated. So my hope is with all of the requirements that there are to apply even, that there will be additional funds that will be coming our way too, besides just the 25,000.
Be awesome.
Yeah,
So I am
So-
looking to approve the resolution, just authorizing the application.
so this is
I'll move it.
resolution 22.
2022-01.
I'll second it.
Okay. Got a motion by Ludwig, seconded by Lovegren to approve resolution 22-01. Any questions? Concerns? Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moves on to Extension Committee appointments. We got Mary Lang from District 3 and Chad Dipman from District 4.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Yes, go ahead, David.
The agenda has Mr. Dipman's term expiring in 2022. I'm thinking that should be 2024. Should be a 3-year term.
I think that this is a temporary.
Was it temporary?
I think that's what I read.
Right. They both are.
His term will be a partial term.
A
Jan.
partial term.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I did reach out to some folks for my districts. I just have not heard back from them yet.
So, and actually, I had a conversation with Suzanne via email the other day because one of the representatives, I believe she's from Josh's area, moved to Matt's area, who's on the board. And I said, how does this work? Because I don't understand. And so she said, ooh, good point. And so she's going to look into that and maybe one of them can be a member at large, but
Who's that? You don't have to say.
Donna Sherrier?
Yeah, if some, I should know.
Yeah,
if
we
other
just had
people
this
don't pan out
conversation
for me,
yesterday
feel free to
afternoon.
Shoot that name, some number to me.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So we're just gonna deal with these two right now.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
So any discussion? We got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Waldham. Debbie, you want to call the roll?
Sure. District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Commissioner Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then zoning board appointment. Consider Skip Thompson representing District 5.
I'll make a motion to accept Skip.
I'll second.
Again,
Yep.
Go ahead.
Did you have a question, JJ?
Second.
Oh,
No. just try to get a second in there. I think there's a little delay.
okay.
You got it. You can have the second.
Okay, we got a motion by Lovegren, second by Waldham to appoint Skip as the zoning board. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, call the roll.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, request for bids for official publication for 2022. Award to bid.
I so move to award the bid to the Pioneer for the first publication and the Courier for the second publication.
I'll second.
It's the strangest thing in the world to me.
Mhm.
We continue to do it that way because I guess that's the way we do it. But I always find it strange that people that make sure we don't have any pre-meetings about anything are the ones that have this set up on a rotational basis that,
Well, and aren't they all owned by the same company now?
you know, they.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, we got a motion by Lovegren, seconded by Moore for the official publications. Debbie, you want to call the roll?
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to recess the regular board meeting and convene the rail authority meeting. Another strange thing that happens.
Yeah.
But in the past, we have gone with the chair and the vice chair of the board. Secretary is the county administrator as a non-voting member, and the treasurer is our auditor treasurer as a non-voting member.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I will make the motion. We keep it as is.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Lovegren, or Ludwig, second by Lovegren, to keep the rail authority members or administrative set up the same, chair, vice chair. Any discussion? If not, Debbie, call the roll.
District 3, Commissioner Lovegren.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Waldham.
Yes.
District 5, Commissioner Ludwig.
Aye.
District 1, Chair Holland.
Yes.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, now we can conduct business for the rail authority.
I have none.
I have none. Does anybody have any? If not, we'll declare the rail authority meeting adjourned.
Been doing this for a while.
We did have business one year, couple of times.
And yeah. when we
And
did that
the rail
property transfer,
authority-
we had to do that, didn't we?
The rail authority is the owner of that former railroad grade along Highway 23 from the Kanabec County
Like,
line east.
To where it meets up.
yeah, we had a couple of driveway deals we had to do.
Yep. So we will adjourn the rail meeting and reconvene the county board meeting, which brings us to commissioner updates. Kettle River, one watershed, one plan policy meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. We met right after our last board meeting, the last meeting last month. It was kind of the kickoff meeting, elected a chair and a vice chair. Dan Benzie is the chair and I am the vice chair. And the overview is good. I mean, it was a good discussion and it's also going to include the Upper St. Croix because it's kind of in that same block. So it'll be the Upper St. Croix and the Kettle River will be done together. And we're going to start having our first regular meetings in February.
Thank you. Pine County HRA, I sat in for Matt on that one. Very impressed with that board and their assignments that they all had to do. And they all ticked off, you know, where they invest in their money. They've got a really solid rehabilitation program. You know, they set aside money for roofs and parking lots and repainting of apartments as people move out and recarpeting and you know, they have it figured out very well. They're a very high functioning group.
Thank you for taking that for me.
Yes, it was very good. It's a lesson for all of us. If you can't make a meeting, get somebody to sit in for you because it's such a learning experience. First time I think I've ever been to the HRA meeting. So it was a good learning experience for me.
It's a solid group.
Yes, very, very good.
Real good. Yeah.
Snake River Watershed.
We did have a meeting. It was just, they had a couple projects that they approved, talked about going forward, into the policy, one watershed, one plan. And that one was canceled, but we just talked a little bit about that and just conducted a little business with it.
Any other meetings?
I did reach out to the extension office yesterday and found out where they are with the ag coordinator. And they are checking references this week. And so we should have something.
Do you want to talk about the Blandon meeting that we had yesterday?
Oh, actually, it was really interesting. We talked about, I didn't bring my notes on it. We talked about the different areas. We had a whole bunch of people from the county that joined us in voting what they thought was important to do with this $100,000 grant that we can get from Blandon. And a big part of it is that we need to get broadband going. But then there was also some outreach programs that we could do, having the vocational students help or the high school students help people with issues and that type of stuff. So we came up with the 4 groups and then we're looking for people to work on those committees so that we can keep going and get that $100,000 grant money. And Leslie's been working really hard on that. My hat's off to her. She is an excellent employee. So more is coming on that. We'll find out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So just given the size of Pine County,
Mhm.
you know, the 55 miles this way and whatever, 45, 50 that way. It's going to be a big project.
Big.
And so how are you setting up what's going to happen first, you know, to reach the most people? Is that what you're looking at? You know, the largest population centers? And I mean, the companies I'm sure have return on investment they want to worry about.
That's
things like
huge.
that.
I think, Matt, if you can hold that question for 2 weeks, our contract, we have a contract with a company called Hometown Fiber, who has been working diligently in our county to answer those questions about where we really are right now. What assets do we have? And to help us make decisions about moving forward. And they are going to do a presentation to us on the 18th. And so I've been kind of biting my tongue on saying much yesterday until we really hear from them.
And we did invite all the people that were on the call yesterday to join that board meeting so that they know what Hometown Fiber says too, so that we all are on the same page.
Is East Central Electric still in the?
They're still working on it.
They're working on moving forward, but
They still need people to promote it.
Well, what I wonder about is how does that overlap with, somebody gave us a presentation once where way back when people bought the rights to areas for the
Yep.
communications and
Yep.
like just down the road from me, there's that little sliver and there's some companies sits in Ohio or somewhere bought
Yep.
just sight unseen.
Right.
Yep.
So how does that mix with?
well, those are questions that nobody has the answer to yet, because in a way, it's kind of holding back some other companies from investing money because
Yeah.
some of the grants aren't available if it's if you're going to build in an RDOF area that was awarded to somebody else. And so,
Okay, so then that brings, I know you don't want to have this, but let's say the company that little sliver I talked about, why doesn't the company that's all around it just approach them and say, will you sell that to us? I mean, does that kind of conversation happening?
they may be happening. I think they're probably
Who knows?
conjecturing here what might happen.
Right, right.
They may be looking at some legislation that says, hey, if you haven't developed a plan by now, let's take that money and give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
And there's money out there, so there's a whole bunch of people coming to the table.
Well, it's ridiculous to have a little sliver when you're wrapped up by another big company and people are not going to be in there. There's a bunch of people in there.
right. Right. If it was easy, Matt, it would have happened.
Well, I think some people just forget they own stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we got a bunch of meetings scheduled coming up.
Mr. Chair,
So,
if I could draw your attention to letter G, the Public Safety Committee. There is no plan or agenda for that committee meeting, and it will conflict with the strategic planning, so I'm proposing that it be canceled.
okay,
That's on January 11th.
yes.
G.
Our
The Public Safety Committee.
Our strategic planning meeting is on the 11th.
Is it,
That's probably our
there's this other one at the same.
big important one for the year, so make sure we're all there.
So the 11th is the joint planning with the HRA EDA. And then the 12th is the county board planning.
Yes,
And so conceptually, we'll start those at 10 o'clock and plan to have lunch brought in to make it easy to take a little break and then continue into the afternoon if necessary.
okay, got anything else? We breezed through that place. Easy, I figured we'd be here for hours.
That was a quick meeting.
No other business come before the board. We will declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, JJ.
Yep, thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for letting us see the palm trees in your photo.
Yeah.
They do have a